Thank you. We'll start with an opening statement from Coach, and then we'll take questions.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Obviously a disappointing and frustrating loss, and honestly a disappointing and frustrating performance, as everybody's well aware of. And the reason it's frustrating is because I felt like the plan was good. The plan was good. People were open. We had running lanes. I thought the way we attacked them was the right way to attack them. The frustrating part is the idea that we turned the ball over, twice through the air and 2 times on turnovers on downs. Obviously, you can't beat good people doing things that way. And then the conversions on third downs, I thought we had some people open that we didn't get to, whether we moved off our spot from a protection standpoint or just not getting to the right progression from a quarterback standpoint, or dropping the football when the ball hits us in the hand. So, ultimately, that's not the standard that we expect offensively. It's not the standard that I coach at. But I took that one for them. And the reason why I took that one for them is because they played their tails off. I mean, the effort was not the question. The execution wasn't there. And why was the execution not there? Well, I got to look in the mirror, and I take a lot of pride in putting our guys in positions in practice to overcome and respond through adversity. I also pride myself on teaching and coaching detailed fundamental football. But at the end of the day, we didn't get it done, and ultimately that falls on me because I didn't think I had them prepared to dig ourselves out of the hole and dig ourselves out of those momentum swings. I felt like I said, we had the plan, and there was people open. We adjusted the run game up to their 4 down, and we were doing some good things. We just didn't execute in critical times to give ourselves a chance, and I felt like we should have been in that game the entire time, even with the momentum swings. Because obviously Daniel talk about it, but they had like 6 plays that gave them a chance. Other than that, he was choking them out. So we got to be better, obviously, and my job is not to coach them harder; it's to coach them better. And like I said, the first guy I need to look at is myself. And so I'm excited about how we responded today. That was going to be big for me. I feel like our guys are hungry and have an edge, and the way that they practiced today was exactly what I expected.
Thank you, Coach. Start with Michael and then Justin.
Me first?
Yes.
There were a handful of passes that Noah threw that were behind the receivers, kind of a pretty consistent miss. What do you think is accounting for that, and how do you go about ensuring that those are where they need to be?
Yeah, there was a couple times I felt like he should have thrown the ball on his first reset, meaning the reset is like a hitch to me. Like a hitch is more like a hitch up into the pocket. When we have a drop fundamental and he's taking a specific drop and he resets his feet so it's almost like a right-left at the top of the drop, the ball should be out on that right-left. Well, there was a couple times where he went right-left, right-left. And so almost like when you do that, you kind of feel like you're a little bit late, so you're kind of aiming the ball, trying to get it there, and so now you're trying to throw it more with it's hard to explain, but you're throwing it more with like trying to make it right versus trying to be in rhythm. And for whatever reason, like there was I just felt like he didn't trust himself fully on some of those throws. And if he trusted himself fully, I told him after the game, I said, listen, dude, like, I got to get you prepared to win games like this. So ultimately it falls on me, because the detail wasn't there for you to win it. The details and the discipline weren't there for you to win it. But you're capable, and your ability is elite. So if you trust the system, if you trust me, and you trust the fundamentals, you would have thrown for 300 yards that game, and we'd have been right in it, And in a game like that, where you get kind of behind, your quarterback's got to play elite. He's got to play big time. And by no means will I ever sit here and tell you Noah Fafita was the reason we lost that game. But he can play better, and he knows that. And so I have full confidence in him. We're going to get that right. But yes, on some of the throws that he had behind, I felt like he was just late, and it had to do with some of this with his feet and just trusting the rhythm of the play. He also threw some really, really, really good balls that I felt like we dropped that were critical plays too. So as much as he struggled, there were some times where, man, he was on too, and somebody's got to make him right too.
Justin and then Brian.
He also shouldered a lot of the blame after the game. So how have you worked with him in tandem to make sure, like you said, you're getting that thing right?
Yeah, I think as talented as he is, and as good as a relationship that we have, there's times where I feel like sometimes you assume that we're on the same page. And there was a few times in that game, especially on third down, where in my mind I'm like, oh, we got him. Wide open, perfect, exactly what we called, and he threw it somewhere else. And so there was a miscommunication there, obviously. And like I said, I thought we've gone over that, but he's so good at note-taking and processing. Somewhere around there, we got crosswayed on the communication on where that ball should go. And so I got to do a better job, not just assuming that he's just, because he is so elite at everything that he knows. I got to coach him as hard and just like I just got, like once when I first got here, I got to coach him the same way every single day and demand the details from him, which I do, you know what I mean? But again, like when you lose a game like that, you got to look in the mirror and there's like, okay, you got to be better then. Somewhere in your process, you have to be better. And so it just starts with every single meeting that we have. Everything that I say to him is me and him being on the same page. Because I felt like there was a few times in that game, if we were, and like I said, I assumed we were, and I'm sure he assumed we were, then we'd convert, and who knows, you know. So there's a lot of. He's such a good. I mean, he's such a good leader. He's always going to say that. He's always going to say like that was my fault. And yeah, there was plenty for him to clean up. But like specifically on the first interception, let's talk about the first interception for a second. We repped that play 3 times during the week. Same exact look. We actually repped it one time against Danny and we completed it, the over. Okay? So 3 times in a row, it looked as clean as possible. And what happened is for whatever reason, our flat control, who was a ghost motion, hesitated. So when he hesitated, for whatever reason, we had no flat control. So the cloud corner that he's supposed to keep down, that Noah can't see because he's moving left, sinks into the over grass. All Noah sees is green grass and an over route. But for whatever reason, again, our flat control hesitated, so we couldn't get over there to keep eyes down, right? So like everybody's gonna be like, why do you throw that? Why'd you call that? I called it because it's worked 3 times all week versus the exact same look. And then if you break them down, that play has worked like consistently versus that defense. And so I thought it was the right time to call it. It's just the detail, again, it goes back to, this is what I'm talking about, is I'm gonna take accountability for that because why? Because obviously I didn't coach the flat control hard enough to know, like, dude, you cannot hesitate. If you hesitate, we're in a bind there. So again, it's like, it worked all week. Do you assume like, okay, they understand what flat control means, they understand why you gotta get there? Well, no, I gotta coach every single detail to maximize that we're not gonna make a mistake in the game.
And you're coaching up in the box. Why do you prefer to have that view as opposed to being on the sidelines? And can you tell us about Quinn Thomas and how he's been kind of your right-hand man up there?
Absolutely. I see it better. With the helmet communication, I feel like I communicate to the quarterback before we get cut off by seeing the picture and giving him tips and reminders. If Quinn's up there, so Quinn's my right hand, he does my advanced scout, so he kind of knows the ins and outs of every defense that we break down. So he sits there and game plans with me. I ask him a ton of questions. Obviously, he has a defensive background that kind of helps him. But also, I trust him, and he understands what I'm trying to do offensively. So we'll be up there in the box, and if I see a certain coverage where I can alert Noah of like, hey, man, instead of you trying to figure out this disguise, I know it's man. So I'm going to tell him it's man. Or we call a play, and we didn't have an audible system to that specific play, and it's not a good look. Well, now I can get us out of it and get us into a better run, or I can change the protection to make sure we're not getting hit. So there's that kind of stuff that I feel like gives me a benefit from being upstairs to down.
Brian and then Troy.
So Oklahoma State has fired its head coach and then since then has fired its defensive coordinator. So is this another one of those where like the tape you just kind of have to throw out and maybe guess what they're going to be doing?
A little bit, you know. There's a little bit of unknown. The last time Coach Bowen was a coordinator was in 20 at North Texas. And then he's been a head coach, obviously, but he's been on the offensive side, coaching his son, doing some research on that. I don't know the whole story there. I know he was doing advanced scout, kind of like, Quinn Thomas does for us at Oklahoma State. And so, it's hard to say. Hard to say what you're going to get. I would assume they're going to clean up some stuff that he feels like they need to clean up and try to stay a little bit more simple and let those guys play fast and obviously throw in what he feels like he can get in a week. I don't think he's going to do a wholesale change because I think that would be a disservice to those kids. I mean, that's a lot of work just to go into the last week to do it. So who knows? We'll be prepared for whatever. I think, looking into what they've done so far, and then obviously looking into what he's done in the past, and kind of and being able to maximize those reps of what we think we're going to get, and do our very best to attack it.
And I know that the circumstances in this last game dictated needing to throw more because you were behind, but do you look for a certain balance with the run pass when it isn't an out-of-hand situation?
I think we go into a game wanting to stay balanced, right? And then when I'm attacking a defense, it's more of like what's working, right? And so, if I feel like we're running the ball well, I'm going to lean on the run until they start loading that box. Then you got to be able to throw it. And so, I think K-State is a prime example. We started running the ball really well on them, and then they started playing some really heavy run defense. So we had to find a way to throw it. And then, this last game, that wasn't the plan to just go out there and just to rip it around like that. But I felt like that was the way to create explosives. It's a defense that, they do play, a zone type of coverage that does allow you to see, like, okay, we might have a light box here, we might have advantage run game-wise, numbers-wise, but the truth is trying to create an explosive in run game doesn't happen much. So I was trying to create explosives so we could get down the field faster and score a little bit more efficiently. And like I said, I thought we could have. I thought we had a great plan. I thought our coaches did a great job of getting our guys ready. I thought our O-line played pretty well and gave us a chance. Like I said, we just made too many critical mistakes to win a game of that magnitude in a situation that we were in. Now, the standard to me, like what I told the kids afterwards, if we got to score 40 to win a game, we score 40. That's just the standard. And I want that mentality to be that way. Now, we got to go earn that. We got to go earn that by how we practice, how we prep, how we meet, the details that we coach. Never assuming, you know what I mean? We gotta make sure all the communication is clear, because in a game like that, you were gonna have to play pretty elite. You couldn't make many mistakes. We get in a hole like that, and the momentum changes on you. Like the first drive, I thought we were moving the ball. Not many people move the ball that clean against those guys. So we were moving the ball really clean. We run a reverse, we miss a block, and then we have a third down, and we run mesh. The play side mesh is wide open, but Noah has to move because we get pressure to the right side. It's just stuff like that where, you're just kicking yourself like, okay, if our right tackle doesn't drop his kick foot, we got a chance. Those are the details. And then the next third down, we go 3 and out. We got the perfect play called versus man, and Noah checks it down when he's been ripping the cross all week. Well, again, like, why did he check it down? Ultimately, again, that's on me, because obviously he didn't understand the full idea of what we were trying to do. So I take full responsibility, but my job is to make it right, and I fully intend to do that.
Troy and then Jason.
You kind of touched upon it there. The third down conversions have kind of been a struggle the past 4 games. You were saying details. Can you just go more into the third down? Right?
Yeah, it's just like I said, like the first down, we run mesh, a version of mesh, and the play side mesh pops wide open, but our right tackle drops his kick foot, so Noah gets pushed to the left, and he can't move back there, right? So the play side mesh is to the right, so he can't see it, he can't get to it, and then the next one we run like another cross kind of version of just a crossing route, and we get man to man, and the cross route pops wide open, and our progression is wrong, and so it's just like stuff like that I feel like has been hurting us all year. Is if you want to be really, really good on third down, then you're gonna have to be extremely detailed in what you do. And in those money downs, our best players got to show up too. I felt like the third and 2, 3rd and 3 that we threw to Chris Hunter was the right call. I mean, they played exactly what I thought they were going to play. We hit him right in the face mask, and he makes that play 9 times out of 10. Just for whatever reason, he was kind of He was kind of lazy with putting the ball in his chest, and it got away from him. So, and then even on the fourth down call, we had Chris Hunter wide open again. I mean, he was wide open. Noah was about to throw it to him, and 31 sticks his hand out like this, jumps and sticks his hand out like this, and barely bats the ball. So, but the other detail to that is I feel like Noah drifted a little bit. He drifted to his left a little bit. If he doesn't drift to his left a little bit and just does the drop mechanic that we teach, that may not be tipped. You know, it's just the little details like that'll keep us on the field.
And then you kind of mentioned it earlier in the press conference, receivers have dropped 11 balls this year. Just your thoughts on trying to catch the ball and put Noah in a good position.
Yeah, I believe in those guys. Here's the deal. Like, I'm not down, and I told those receivers after the game, am I down on them? Am I frustrated at them? Hell no. I believe in those guys. All right, we just gotta continue to find our edge and continue to practice the right habits. All right, so obviously, again, it's not coaching them harder, it's coaching them better. All right, I gotta coach them better. I gotta demand every little detail from them that matters. And you know, I think you can get into this, you know, because if you watch our routes on air, I mean, we're clean now. Come watch our routes on air. Like if there's 4 balls thrown, it's 4 catches. I mean, it's efficient as you've ever seen. We're throwing and catching. Those guys are running really hard, good routes. They're seeing and tucking the ball away. But there might be a play or two where we let something slide where he didn't put it on his chest in that drill because there's a million things going on. Well, we got to be really intentional as coaches to make sure that we're demanding every single little detail to give us the best opportunity to go make plays in critical situations.
We'll finish with Jason and Michael.
How do you make sure that while you're teaching the receivers and Noah more details, they don't start to overthink things?
Yeah, there's a fine line, right? Because you don't want to handcuff a really special player, all right? But the details that I see are just fundamentals. Okay, so we're still allowing these guys to be themselves. I'm still allowing Chris Hudson to be himself. I'm still allowing Chris Hunter to be himself. But the details that matter, that putting the ball on your body in a critical situation like that, I mean, I don't think that will ever handcuff him, right? I just got to demand that from him every single day. Nunu on the 4th and 12, when we were late in the game and we threw it to him on the little stop route, if he just knifes, if he catches the ball and knifes, it's a conversion, and we're still in this thing. We can go score, we can go onside, we can go win this. But instead of knifing, he tries to run around it and tries to get it with his speed. That's the kind of stuff that's the details that I'm talking about that will win or lose a game in those type of circumstances. Because there's gonna be a time where Nunu's gonna make everybody miss. That's just what he is. I'm not gonna take that away from him. But he's gotta know like where the conversion line is and the details of what it takes to get to that conversion in that circumstance. Those are like the football IQ things that we got to continue to clean up and help our guys process through.
Finish up with Michael.
We all, of course, tend to dwell on the negative after a loss, but the offensive line did not have any false starts in its first road game, didn't have any holding penalties. I thought that was a chronic problem for the first few games. What did you think of the progress that unit made?
I thought the entire offense played extremely hard. Our effort was good enough to win that game. Our effort was exactly what we preach every single day, and that's red line. To the offensive line, like I'll tell you this, we ran kind of a counter scheme early in the game, and Tristan Bounds came around the edge with more violence than I've ever seen him have. And it was like special to see because that's growth. And then he had one of the better games from a pass pro standpoint. Now, did he give up some, like I said, like that third down? Did he have a fundamental issue there? Yeah, we got to continue to clean that. But there was a lot of growth there. And I thought they really rose to the challenge that I challenged them early in the week that I did not want to go on a silent count. I didn't want to go on a silent count. And you see, and like the week before, we had watched Auburn and OU, we had watched Texas Tech and Utah, and you see all these guys at kind of some hostile environments jumping off sides off clap cadences, not holding their water. So I challenged them all week, like we're not going to be that. You know, we gotta be able to manage what we do well. If we go on silent, that's going to be a disadvantage to us because that's just not what we do. And I thought they did a great job being disciplined and detailed in what we're asking them to do. And like I thought, they did come out and give us a little bit of a different front than we prepped for. We made adjustments at halftime, and we really did a good job running the football when we were able to run the football. So I thought the O-line played well, and it's just, to me, that's just growth. and obviously I truly trust Oglesby and what he does, and those guys are completely bought in, and so I know everybody that one hurt our offense because they know that they're capable of much better, specifically our quarterback, and I know they're going to do everything to make sure that never happens again for sure.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep. Thanks, guys.